Can armor be too sexy? The answer is obviously no, but we need to talk about anime armor. And I mean anime armor. I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem lately, and it's reminded me of this very popular design feature in a lot of anime, video game, and general fantasy character design, where the armor, particularly the cuirass, but also the leg defenses, are comprised of these overlapping strips of metal. This is a historical typology called Laminar armor, and our video game examples do seem particularly inspired by the 16th century examples we see in Europe. This style originates in Italy and is called Anima, coming from the same Latin word that means life or soul, and is the root of our modern-day word animation. A great early example of this style of armor is the circa 1544 garniture of Henry VIII. So why would you choose this kind of construction? Europe hadn't really been using a laminar style of armor since Lorica segmentata in the Roman Empire. In the 14th and 16th century, when plate armor really rises to a peak both in martial use and in artistic mastery, we really see more solid breastplates than not. The answer is, aside from aesthetics, these articulations offer the wearer a little bit more mobility. Looking inside this breastplate of Henry VIII, we can see that each of the lames, which again refers to those horizontal overlapping strips of metal, is attached to one another by a leather strip and a sliding rivet in the front. This construction allows those plates to move over one another fairly independently, giving the wearer a little bit more ability to flex and extend the spine. So why don't we just articulate everything all the time? We love mobility, right? Well, one of the problems is that every articulation adds a point of failure. Now, before you D&D players get ahead of yourselves and are like imagining your rogue slipping a dagger between one of those lames, I find that fairly unlikely. However, each of those rivets is going to be a point to break, as opposed to a solid breastplate, which will only deform. However, by the 16th century, armor is solidly fashion, it is art, and not all choices are made for practicality. In fact, later examples of this armor actually lose that mobility component because they are just riveted together. They don't have the same sliding rivets or leather attachments on the inside. So let's go back to anime, the cartoon, for a second. Why is this construction so popular? I think this construction is so appealing to concept designers because there's a certain biomimicry to it. Nature has designed animals that look a lot like this, for example, the armadillo, the centipede. So I think to our eye it looks very natural and anatomical versus the solid plate armors.